Not just TikTok influencers, not just activists, not just advocates, but normies. Posting this is huge. You see the Western world get this loud about Palestinian humanity, you have to shudder. You have to notice that your project is on its last legs. The situation that we're at, the situation that we're watching unfold, is mainstream media kind of dropping the ball, and losing sight of the way people are experiencing this ethnic cleansing campaign. It's in broad daylight. People are seeing it. People are now finding ways of lending support. I have seen an unimaginable amount of social media stories openly declaring that they are pro-Palestine over this past week since the Rafah, the Rafah bombing occurred. I'll be honest with you. I have a lot of thoughts on this. There's one specific post that is going around Instagram right now. It's an AI-made image that says, "All eyes on Rafah." I don't know if we have the AI image. I'm sure you've seen it a million times over at this point. But beyond that, there are a lot of people that are posting the "All eyes on Rafah" AI image. Also on top of that, posting donation links. There's a couple issues that I have with this. Obviously, the AI image is lame. It's gross. There is a million different images that you can post, real images of real Palestinian people that are suffering. Okay? Like, there are a million different real images you could have posted instead of this. And it's very performative. And I don't care about the AI aspect of it from that front, but I do care, and I do wish that it was a real image, because it is important to see Palestinians in that regard, especially when it's so broadly shared. Having said that, once again, I'm not talking about the AI aspect of it. Okay? I'm not talking about the AI aspect of it. I don't care about that at all. What I do care about is the millions of people that are posting this right now. Okay? Why do I care about this? Because it signals to people that you can be pro-Palestine and not get punishments, not get censored, not lose your job. Okay? That is huge. Why is that huge? That shit's at like 50 million, 60 million reshares at this point. Why is that huge? It's huge because up until this very moment, there is no way that people can openly say that they're pro-Palestinian without being afraid of the repercussions. Okay? I don't think you guys should understand this better than anybody else, because you're in this community. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've experienced it. Many of you have been arrested for being pro-Palestinian, for participating in the encampments. Okay? There are repercussions. I know that on TikTok, being pro-Palestine kind of bangs. You go viral or whatever. But everywhere else in the real world, there are actual repercussions for it, which is precisely the reason why a lot of people, both because they're afraid that they're going to be called anti-Semitic, and also because they don't truly know what the fuck's going on down to the wire. And there's a lot of misinformation from the outlets that they're getting this information from, or a lot of omission, lies by omission, as we've seen. Even when they're talking about the Rafah situation on BBC, they keep talking about it like, oh, Israel had a see. All right, shut the fuck up, you know? Maybe there shouldn't have been guns there next to the tents. It's actually the Palestinians' fault that they're dying, right? That making people obviously confused and scared to openly state what their opinion is, even if they have, for months at this point, felt a feeling in their hearts that, you know, this is pretty conscionable, okay? The reason why I still think this is a relatively positive situation is that it's good that 70 million people on Instagram and many Americans and many celebrities now feel confident saying that they are pro-Palestinian, okay? You're talking about people who have never said a single thing about Palestinians, okay? You're talking about people who have never, ever in a million years I would have ever thought would be posting donation links to UNRWA. It's crazy. It is crazy. This is a Zionist's worst nightmare, dude. If you are completely invested in the genocidal fascist project of maintaining a Jewish majority Israel, you see the Western world get this loud about Palestinian humanity, you have to shudder. You have to notice that your project is on its last legs, okay? So yes, while I think it's kind of silly that the first and only thing that many people have done so far is post a shitty AI image, and I totally understand why Palestinians that are both on the ground in Gaza, victim to this genocide, and also Palestinians in diaspora, and also Palestinian advocates, okay? All of these people are very understandably agitated about this thing, and they're like, this is all you got? What the are you doing? Call your congresspersons, and they're right for saying that, okay? They're right for saying that. In spite of all the criticisms, I do have a different perspective on the matter. This is massive, okay? This is massively, massively important. Here's another post that I posted like a day ago as well. It's a mistake, but it's not a mistake. It's a pattern. That's also, you know, something that people are broadly sharing. Motaz posts images every single day that do more to show the reality in Rafah, that you can put the text all eyes on Rafah over that instead of AI bullshit. I know, guys. I know. Like, why are you guys telling me this? You're missing the point that I'm trying to make. While I get the frustrations that many people have, the fact that this is so popular and it has given people the courage to even remotely say something pro-Palestinian across the board is actually an unimaginable sea change, okay? And I don't think every single person is saying like, I'm gatekeeping activism. I was there first. Where were you 6 months ago? Where were you 4 months ago? Okay? I don't think a lot of people are saying just that. Some people are. Some people are gatekeeping activism, and that's weird and lame and gross. Who cares? But a lot of people have valid criticisms. And I think those valid criticisms should be addressed. There's very real gruesome images, or maybe even images of hope that you could post and then write all eyes on Rafah over this. That is important because Palestinian emancipation can only be met if Palestinian humanity is addressed. You can only do a genocide on a population if you actively have successfully dehumanized them, which Israel has, which the American media has as well. You have to show the humanity of the Palestinians. I know this very well, and that's precisely the reason why many Zionist publications or Zionist institutions literally will smear you and say you're an anti-Semite for even advocating for Palestinian emancipation, Palestinian humanity. That's why we just showed you the article earlier about Jenna Ortega for the crime of posting Free Palestine in 2021, Times of Israel, compared her to Kanye West. Ask the question, dare ask the question, who's a bigger anti-Semite, Jenna Ortega for saying Palestinians are human beings, or Kanye West? It is that important. And that's precisely the reason why it's important that this image would have been better if it had real Palestinians, okay? But regardless of the many valid criticisms against this, regardless of the many valid criticisms against the image in and of itself, I think the image and its popularity and the corresponding donation links that are popping off right now, even on Instagram by normies, not just like people on TikTok, not just TikTok influencers, not just activists, not just advocates, but normies posting this is huge, okay? It's huge. And the reason why I will, unfortunately, I have so much love for my Palestinian friends, both in diaspora and also in Gaza and in the West Bank. I have so much love for all of the advocates that have been a part of this pro-Palestinian emancipation movement for far longer than anybody else. However, there is one disagreement that I do have with them on this issue. A lot of people are comparing this to the BLM black square, right? And I have made this comparison, or rather, I've addressed this comparison before, so you probably will recognize it. I've talked about Black Lives Matter as a domestic issue in terms of white supremacy and pro-Palestinian emancipation as a foreign policy issue and the major differences between black liberation, or at least criticisms of police brutality that disproportionately targets black people, versus Palestinian emancipation. Because the material conditions are very different for the Palestinians, and because of their proximity to America, because of all of the counter narratives in terms of Hasbara, in terms of ultra-Zionists constantly eliminating Palestinian voices as they conduct an apartheid, as they conduct an ethnic cleansing campaign, awareness is key, okay? If awareness wasn't significant for Palestinians, if even someone saying, I think I'm pro-Palestine, a random white lady by the name of Becky or Karen or Rachel, if a random white person saying, I'm actually pro-Palestinian wasn't so significant, there wouldn't be this level of punishment across the board up until this very moment for even saying such things, okay? And now you got it. You got the Barbaras. That's huge, okay? You got the Rebeccas and the Barbaras and the Karens. They're posting about Palestine. That's crazy. That's a good thing. Because, and I will reiterate this point, which I made with a very important academic that I love, Mark Lamont Hill. As you guys know, I had this conversation with him personally, and he agreed with me on the matter as well. The conditions for the Palestinians in the West Bank and the conditions of the Palestinians in Gaza are significantly worse. This is not oppression Olympics. It's significantly worse than the conditions that black people face in contemporary American society. This does not mean that the situation is great for black people in a white supremacist nation. Of course not. It just shows you how bad it is. And therefore, even awareness alone of the humanity of Palestinians is massively consequential. And that is precisely the reason why Israel and Zionist Hasbara agents have routinely tried to stop people from acknowledging the humanity of Palestinians, turning them into just enemies, just terrorists, barbarians that operate in a monolithic, sometimes antiquated, ancient anti-Semitism. Many people come in here and say, Hasan, how can you be so positive? Or how do you continue? How do you continue seeing such gruesome images? And on this issue, I will tell you, I have in my lifetime seen a dramatic change in the way that we view Palestinian emancipation in the Western world. A dramatic change that I never thought could happen. There is nothing that gives me more confidence than recognizing in the Western world there are now millions more people, especially in our generation, that truly see the inhumanity of the Israeli Zionist regime, recognizing the apartheid, recognizing Israel's genocidal actions. That is massive, okay? That is massive. Every person's voice in this instance matters. Every single new person, every single new Barbara or Deborah that posts all eyes on Rafah, even if it's a AI post, matters. It creates a new vector of pressure. It creates a new pressure point. The ICC, the UN General Assembly, the UN Security Council, making decisions that oftentimes, obviously, get almost always get vetoed by the one most significant UN Security Council voter member state, the United States of America. That doesn't, and immediately when you see that, you're like, oh, these guys are symbolic. These guys, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that the United States is stopping every step of the way, stopping progress every step of the way. Okay. It is yet another avenue of pressure. This is why I've been stressing, okay? This is why I have been stressing over and over and over again how important it is to not stop protesting, to not stop calling your congresspersons, okay? I completely disagree. This decontextualized the whole issue. Deborah and Barbara can only support it because it's decontextualized, doesn't point at perpetrators, doesn't even name the issue. Is just an offensive, defanged activism. Any Palestinians straying away from the victim category that this creates will be labeled as an obstacle to peace. Remember how the shift followed, singling out Netanyahu as the sole problem here? Brother, I don't think you understand That is an exit ramp that the American government refuses to take. Anything in the immediate that stops the further bloodshed of Palestinians is good. What do you think I want them to have a protracted people's war against the Israeli Zionist entity? Like, what are you talking about? You think I want more Palestinian children to die? What a psychotic attitude. As a Palestinian, I hated this AI shit, but I guess I agree with you that the more mainstream it is to be pro-Palestinian, the better. Absolutely. Every Palestinian I've talked to, far before October 7 and far after October 7 as well, always would stress the importance of awareness. A lot of the stuff that we laugh at during the BLM protests of people being like, ooh, I'm a white lady and I'm reading Ibram Kendi now. Like, I'm learning. You know? All of that shit that we laugh at, that would be massively consequential for the Palestinians if people did that, actually. Because that's an introduction to the humanity of Palestinians. That's an introduction to the history and the massive wrongs that were committed. Americans have already made up their minds on black people. They grow up in a white supremacist society. Reading Ibram Kendi is not changing the reality that they're direct beneficiaries of white supremacist constructs to a certain degree. But when it comes to the Palestinians, they're out there. They're all the way over there. They don't do nothing to you. If anything, it's just all negative. From the perspective of the working class, it is directly negative to just keep giving, since 1948, $300 billion to the state of Israel, this genocidal apartheid regime. $300 billion. More companies in the NASDAQ that are Israeli owned than India, Japan, and Korea combined. The relationship that we have with Israel, in the eyes of the average American, is unimaginable. They're like, what the are we doing? What is this? You explain that to an average American, they're going to be like, what are you saying? I had no idea. Think about the amount of waste in terms of tax dollars. Going to do what? Murdering children? Who the would say yes to that? You have to be the biggest psychopath. You have to be literally an evangelical dick rider, an evangelical Christian Zionist. Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't want to. I get the point. I get that it's like crazy that it's like a white lady posting about it like this. Yeah, that shit f***ed me up. Yeah, weird TikToks are coming. You'll see more of that. Anyway, ultimately, can you tell me a reliable place to donate money for Palestine? Bro, look above me. Okay? We've been running another charity for the past couple weeks now. Creators for Palestine, a bunch of YouTubers got together, myself included, and we put together a couple charities that are operating on the ground, specifically keyword operating on the ground, that are certified. What is this? I agree that it's generally a good thing that it happened, but this is not really pro-Palestine sentiment. It is war sad sentiment. I hope this pushes us towards stopping this war, but this is not people supporting the Palestinian struggle. It's just people being sad about seeing dead children. Yeah, but it's a massive change of pace from Israel gets to genocide the Palestinians who we think are barbarian monsters to, okay, it's kind of crazy that they're just like melting children at such a high rate. Because if you were in here October 8, like, guys, I know I don't talk about my own personal situation since October 7 quite a bit. I don't talk about it all that much because obviously it's nothing and it's completely inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. But you're in a community where, like, we went from 30,000 people watching to 20,000 people watching, under 20,000 people watching after October 7. That's a third of this community that literally just left. They were like, you, you're a terrorist, you love terrorism, you're an Islamist fundamentalist. There are websites that were literally designed to specifically detail every little thing I've said about Palestine and Palestinians to call me Hasanabi. What are we talking about? I've been getting hate rated, doxxed, swatted, all this shit for endlessly, having articles written about how I want to eat and kill Jewish settler babies or whatever in the Daily Mail. Do you think that energy is still there? No, it's not. It's gone. And the reason for why it's gone, even in my own personal experience, in my own personal conduct that I've seen, obviously, that's a massive change. That kind of shit matters, though. That's why I've always offered unconditional support to, like, the likes of Melissa Pereira, who I don't really care about otherwise. I don't know her at all. But, like, I see other people getting punished by the same machine for speaking truth to power. And now it's getting to a point where you cannot argue against it because there are too many people that are recognizing the reality on the ground. That is objectively a good thing. That doesn't mean that every single person that posted all eyes on Rafah are also simultaneously saying, inshallah, like, the Zionist entity will be dismantled or whatever. Of course not. But you have to always analyze where the attitude was when looking at where the attitude is now. And you cannot take this level of pro-Palestinian support for granted. You cannot take it for granted. You can't say, oh, this is how it should have been. Yeah, you're right. But that's not how humans operate, especially in the Western world. So ultimately, there are very valid criticisms against this all eyes on Rafah shit. But I do think that it spells a change of pace. I think it shows that there's a genuine attitude shift, a tide turning. And it is one that is terrifying Zionists here. Look, I'm frustrated, so I will just say this. Can everyone on both sides just shut up with politics and propaganda and acknowledge that the death and harming of innocent people on either side is unacceptable, says Scooter Braun. No more justification or finger painting or even explaining. You can get back to that shit tomorrow. Just for once, even if just today, just say as a parent or a sibling or simply a human being, no innocent person deserves to be kidnapped or starved or killed. Just start there and then stop talking for one day. Let's try. No innocent person deserves to be kidnapped or starved or killed. Why is he chirping like that? Because he can't say unconditionally that what Israel is doing is good, but he sees the all eyes on Rafah post and he loses his mind. Bring them home now. 79,000 shares. People are losing. The ones that will still try to dick ride Israel are recognizing that the Overton window is shifted in the direction of recognizing Palestinian humanity. And that terrifies them because they understand that if you personally see Palestinians as human beings, you're going to start feeling bad. You're going to start thinking, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we killing them by the thousands with our tax dollars? You got mother Palestinians out here who are Fortnite content creators who haven't really personally said much for obvious reasons, coming out and speaking on it. For those of you who don't know, Cypher PK, he's Palestinian. You got people who are like literally and you got, see, look, Nick Merckx responding to Cypher PK with a heart and a hands up. Think about that. There is no better indication that this is like literally hitting the normie sphere like a goddamn boulder, okay? Why haven't you shared the image? Because just like I didn't share the black square during Black Lives Matter, my very existence and every single step I take is in that direction anyway. Why the would I share all eyes on Rafah as a post? Hello? Do you see what I do for a living? I have offered Palestinians 9 hours of coverage every day since October 7th. I think that's good enough, right? Unless that was a top of the hour ad break debate, which, not good enough to be fair. Yeah. I don't fly the pride flag during the month of June either. What we as a community have done so far is, of course, outside of this latest round of fundraising, we went into action October 9. October 9, we set up a pro-Palestinian charity for 4 charities that were operating on the ground. And we raised $4 million in a matter of weeks while people were too busy saying, I'm funding and facilitating Hamas with these dollars. Meanwhile, you should be funding and facilitating gifted subs at the top of the hour because there's a 3-minute ad break coming. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I haven't played that prominent of a role in the Creators for Palestine charity because, like, I set it up and then I took a back seat to it. Why? Because, it's good to have other people out there doing it. All right. That doesn't mean I'm not going to participate. Obviously, I'm going to participate tomorrow. We're going to be live streaming it alongside the Try Guys and like all the other YouTube content creators that are that are a part of it. But like, there's a reason. It's because I already do what I do. Okay. I don't have to constantly be like, look at me, I'm doing the damn thing. Is Jordan going to take in some Palestinian refugees? As of December 2023, Jordan has a Palestinian population of over 2.3 million registered refugees. No, the news is a huge part of the solution, so it's weird to say you're not doing the thing. Yes. There are 25,000 people in here, sometimes 30,000 people in here. I'm willing to bet that I have probably convinced, especially considering that pro-Palestinian conversations are not even one held by like the left in general up until recently. I'm willing to bet that I've convinced and changed the perspective or educated hundreds of thousands of people on this issue in the Western world. So no, I do think that this is working. And not only that, but I urge you to use these talking points with people that are in your family, people that are in your friend groups. You can educate them as well. Rojo Tortuga, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. And my hope one day is to bring back those who left this community because they thought, I don't agree with you. You're an anti-Semite. Maybe one day we can change their minds too.